Good morning. Today is the 1st of December 2025 and I'm going to go through my trading plan and prep for today. I'm going to keep it as brief as possible because my voice is a bit coarse. I've been a bit unwell over the weekend. But we do have some good levels we can look at today. As always, before we start, let's see what news could or has moved the market. And we've got PMI coming in at 10 a.m. and we do have that's pretty much it really. Nothing else today. Powell speaking later on today, but that's way after market closes. So let's just confirm what news we have on TradingView as well. See if there's anything different. PMI 945. We've got that one. I've got as low volatility. Same here, and then we've got high volatility ISM PM manufacturing PMI. We do have bill auctions at 11:30, so not a great deal today. So just be a bit wary at 10 a.m. today. So let's just start off with the S&P E-mini futures, and we're going to go to the hourly time frame. As I like to start with the higher time frame, working my way down. We talked about the volume last week. We had a lot of green days, was that 5 in a row, but we had reducing volume, which even though we put it down as holiday volume, and hopefully everybody had a nice Thanksgiving, by the way, even though we put it down as holiday volume, it was still weak and reducing volume. And look, lo and behold, we came up to one of these hourly daily levels we've got marked up, and we've rejected it, and we've now closing below the lows of Friday. I think Friday was a very small day anyway because it's a half a day, so we can probably ignore the volume on that day. But you know, it is below average volume, so potentially there's weakness there. We are putting a bit of a bounce at a daily level. We've had marked up that left shoulder area. Pivots came into it and we came back on the pre-market. So maybe this is a pullback and a bounce, or it could be an outright rejection. We're looking pretty much red overall. RTY, YM, Bitcoin, NQ, ES, UK, FTSE 100 is anyone that's green at the moment. So let's just quickly go through the levels and see what we've got today. So look at I'm not going to spend too much time on volume because, like I said, it's a holiday week. Also, we have right smack bang in the middle RSI on this daily. So let's just look at the volume shelf so we can get an idea where we are. We do have a big volume shelf, almost as big as that point of control, directly below, which is around, already marked up this region here, 6,800 psychological number. So just keep an eye on that number today or this week for potential bounces. What was the ceiling? Became the floor, and then it became the ceiling again, and now potentially it could become the floor. So that's the area. That's why I like that area for a bounce. If we do lose that level, we've got the point of control which runs right below it. 6,700, another psychological number. So 6,700, 6,800 are the two numbers I'm watching this week for potential bounces. So that's the daily. Obviously, if we get over the highs of Friday, then we can look for the break and retest, and we've got that 6,900, another psychological number above. So the big round fat numbers we can watch for potential rejections and bounces this week. Looking at the hourly, are we setting up this head and shoulders pattern? Maybe that could be our neckline there. 6,800, that big psychological number. Keep an eye on that for the break and retest short back down into the zones we're watching. We do have this nice zone here, massive big area of was supply, and then we broke through that area. Now it's become demand, and look how we bounced on the pre-market on Friday, Thursday, whenever that was. What day was that? Oh, Wednesday, sorry, because we were closed for a day. So Wednesday was a bounce, a break and retest that zone. So let's see what happens when we get back down into that 67.80 area again. Relatively big move on Wednesday, and then we had a little bit of a push through on quite low volume on Friday. Bear in mind it's low volume in half a day, and then we came back and interesting to see, I'm just going to draw that line in there. We broke it, and then in the post market came back and rejected that area. So for me, I'm going to be watching this 6,800 for a bounce. If we lose 6,800 and we close below that, let's look for the break and retest back down into that zone. And obviously, just keep an eye on this 6,900 up here for a rejection. Do I like the longs? We got this big high volume node, these big volume shelves above. So again, it's going to be tough going up into those volume shelves. We weren't able to really get above it and big sell off. So I'm going to keep an eye on this 68.50 here for potential rejection, and that could set up a nicer head and shoulders pattern. So just keep an eye on this zone here. It's a daily level and it's an hourly level. 68.50 is my rejection area. Notice where all the volume is at the moment. All the way up here, we've got these two levels marked up as well. We've got the point of control. You know, the market could just grind its way up through all these levels over the next day or two. So potentially we can get a rejection up there. But me, I prefer to use these areas of resistance zones or areas of rejection. We are in this hourly uptrend, which we are putting a bit of a change or trend pattern in right now. So, you know, we could say let's stick with the trend. We're not really putting an hourly downtrend yet. We're just holding this pre-market low. 6800 is that area to watch today. So while we're above it, let's look for some longs. We're going to scalp the longs because we'll be scalping it into Friday's range and into Wednesday's range. So we're right smack bang that. Even though the market was closed on Friday, I'm going to treat today as an inside day, even though we're outside of Friday's range. The reason for that is because, you know, there's no trading on Thursday, missing from the chart because of Thanksgiving, and we're smack bang inside that range of Thursday. So if we lose pre-market low, we can treat it as a ranging day, back down because we'll be inside this weekly range. If we're looking for longs, it's going to be an inside day purely because we are both inside Wednesday and Friday's range. So that's what I'm looking at. Anywhere, if we do see a bit of a sell-off today, where would be the next volume shelf? I do like this level here for about 67.50. We've got a little bit of a volume shelf down here as well, around 67.20 down to 6700. There's a daily and hourly level and a psychological number. So they're the areas I'm watching for bounces. And then obviously rejections, we've got a lot of overhead resistance, volume shelf, point of control, head and shoulders pattern. So we've got liquidity sitting up in that area. 6900 is a psychological number as well. And we have this volume shelf just above these double hourly levels there. So just keep an eye on, let's just keep an eye on this big zone for a potential rejection into that zone. So we'll be looking for confirmations, and the confirmations will be volume mainly. So we're looking for hourly level as a confirmation. We're looking for a change of trend, so potentially a double top or inverse or a head and shoulders pattern. And we're looking for decrease in volume coming into these zones and then increase in volume coming back out for confirmation. And that's it. And the same for bounces. We're looking for decrease in volume coming into these hourly levels, and then we'll increase in volume bouncing out of these areas. So that's where we've got support from the buyers. And that's pretty much it for ES. I'm going to play easy today. I didn't take any trades really on. I took a break. I took a very small trade on Friday. Wasn't planning to trade. I tried the opening range and it didn't work. I got out of it pretty quickly, and I didn't even look at my P&L, but it was almost break even. I think nothing happened exactly in my P&L. It didn't even register as a loss. It came out as break even. So going back to order flow, no large orders. 6400. That's been there for some time. We did have 6500 for some time. Now it's moved down to 64. So somebody's expecting potentially the market to get down at some point. When, I don't know. We do have a bit of I wouldn't say it's not really cumulative delta divergence. We're putting in higher lows on the price, and the cumulative delta is putting in higher highs as well. We're putting in higher highs and higher lows, so it's pretty much on board. You know, price will generally follow what delta does. So when we're looking for rejections or divergences, I always refer to this chart. And if I see price coming up into an hourly level and I see a lot of cumulative delta divergence, for example, I see something like this happen, and then I start seeing lower lows on this chart, then potentially I'm waiting for this to sell off and for it to follow the cumulative delta divergence. It means we've got aggressive selling, we've got absorption up there. So that's kind of one. It's all looking pretty much as expected. Previous large orders, we can keep an eye on these zones: 68.25, 68.30. There's nothing up on my large orders indicator at the moment, but we know we've had orders in there because that's what this indicator does. It just lets us know where there's previous areas of high volume. So we can see that there. We can see that aligned point of control there, and we've got that big point of control there, hence why it's kind of letting us know on that chart. But nothing really exciting is happening at the moment. So flicking back to my main screen. This is the hourly, by the way, on the S&P min futures. Look where that volume shelf is above. I just zoomed in a bit, taking out some of the other areas. So we know there's volume up there, so it might be tough getting into that area. So that's why I like that area. Yesterday's low, Friday's low for a potential rejection. That's pretty much it, really. Got a volume shelf there, volume shelf there. So these are the areas to watch for potential bounces, and we just discussed them. So let's just move on to S&P. Sorry, not S&P, SPY. Okay, well, just to back up my rejection on ES, we got the volume shelf, point of control running right through that area. Highs of Wednesday, the lows of Friday, Thursday, and we have these two fair value gaps which are untapped, so we haven't tapped into them yet. So this could be a confirmation we can keep an eye on for a rejection if we're looking for a rejection on ES or even SPY. So they both should coincide with each other. So keep an eye on that 682, 681, 680 zone, and we've got two fair value gaps which we've not tapped into yet. Not in the regular hours anyway, so that's a potential place. And then obviously down here we've got this fair value gap. We have tapped into it in the regular hours from the 21st of November. Big area of confidence. Yes, a lot. I won't worry too much about this until we start selling off if we get down there, but 660, 662 is a bounce area. I do like this zone as well, 672 for a bounce. And then we've got this volume, this low volume void here. So if we do lose pre-market low, not only are we breaking this 50 moving average, which is the red line on my chart, we are going through this area of low volume, and we could expect to see the market move quite quickly through that area into this volume node, this volume shelf I meant, so around 672. So potentially we've got more. If we can break pre-market low, there's not a great deal to hold us up. Maybe we have this area of supply, but we could still get a little bit of a move down. SPX. I do like SPX as a confirmation signal because obviously we've got clearer levels. Look at this for volume shelf there. We've got areas of confidence. We've got that area overhead resistance. And look where we got to on, was it Wednesday? Friday, in Wednesday really, Friday. We came right up into that area of overhead resistance. It's a big area of supply as well. Last time we got there, we had a big rejection. And then we'll be opening up a bit down here today, so around 68.20. Keep an eye on that 6,800 on SPX. We do have a gap as well, potential gap fill here, and that will be 68.70. So if we do sell off, keep an eye on that area, tops all those pivots, a gap fill. You know, the market likes to be drawn to these areas like a magnet, so we generally do fill gaps. There's not really any gaps left unfilled, so keep an eye on that. The last time we had a significant gap was here. We pushed up and then we sold back down through that gap. Next time was here, we pushed down and then we had a gap there as well. We eventually filled that gap. We created a new gap, filled that gap, and then we filled that gap. So all these gaps eventually get filled. So SPX is quite a good one to keep an eye on. So let's see where we are today. Keep an eye on the levels I got marked up. NASDAQ is showing more relative weakness than ES right now, because if we go to ES, we're holding, oh no, I suppose it's below the 50 moving average as well. NASDAQ is also below the 50 moving average, but we do have this point of control, massive big volume shelf below. So I'll take that back. It's not showing relative weakness, it's showing about the same amount of strength or weakness than ES. If we lose pre-market low, 25,210, we got that point of control below and we've got this big volume shelf. So it's going to be a tough short, but we could grind our way through it. Keep an eye on that 2,500 psychological number. Market likes to move to these big numbers, and we've got a volume shelf below as well. So that's just slightly below 2500. So potentially that's a target for a short, bounce for a long. We do haven't really tapped into it yet. I'm not a big fan of post-market fair value gaps, but you could keep an eye on this zone. We do have a level marked up, big area of confidence. Notice how we were rejecting, then we bounced from that area and then we lost it. So we could keep, if we're looking at this fair value gap, keep an eye on that's 25,387, 25,400 for potential rejection. That might add an extra confirmation to the fair value gap, but that level comes from, where's it come from? Looking back, we've got tops of pivots, bottoms of pivots and tops of pivots, and we've got the start. There's a bit of a volume void as well. So yeah, maybe we might just blast away through it and then get back up to Friday's high area. That's where the big volume shelf is and area of confidence. So maybe just be wary of 25.50, 25.550 for rejection. If we are breaking this uptrend, a bit like we're seeing on ES, we've broken that trend line. We are putting in that head and shoulders pattern. We can say pre-market low is the neckline. So let's keep an eye on the break and retest off the pre-market low. Although we do have the next biggest volume shelf other than the one above below. So just be wary for the short. It might be a hard struggle getting down through that. But 25,000 is a psychological number. QQQ. I'll go back to ES in a second, how I will look at an opening range today as well. QQQ is holding the 50, holding pre-market low, holding that area of confidence, and we have a volume shelf, so lots of key areas around here to watch. If we can get below pre-market low, we're breaking that 50 moving average, and then we can target the next levels down. A little bit of volume, area of confidence at 608, big volume shelf for most recent moves down here. 606 to 605, that region there. So we could watch for potential rejection. Left shoulder, head. Are we putting in a right shoulder? Break and retest a pre-market low. We'll be breaking and retesting that neckline. So another confirmation pattern I like, and we're getting below that 50. Otherwise, let's keep an eye on a rejection in this zone. 617, we do have a volume shelf to the left. Not as big as the one directly below that, and that is yesterday's or Friday's low, pre-market high. Keep an eye on that 6.1. What's that level there? 6.15, 6.16 for rejection as well. Let's just go back to ES. I'm just going to go through an opening range breakout if it happens. Ideally today, I'd like to see the opening range open up around that 6,800 area and then watch for the breaking candle. So let's just change to a red. So if we break through 6,800, I want to see increasing volume on the volume chart as we break through, a bit like that. And then I want to see then I will be taking the I'll show you where we're getting short. As we break that breaking candle just there, that level there, my stop will be there, and I'll be targeting that zone there, probably scalping it through. Like I said, I'm treating it as an inside day, so I'll be scalping it short, trying to get as close to break even as possible, and then hopefully then we can see a bit of downward momentum. Ideally we want to see increase in volume as we're selling off, and then if we start seeing decrease in volume into this level here, 67.50, then I'll be looking to take my profits down there. That's how I'm going to scalp it, and I'll be trailing the 5-minute candlesticks down. So that's what I'll be looking for. If the opening range can get above pre-market high, oh, let's change my color back to yellow. I want to see yesterday's low and pre-market high get taken out by an opening range candle. Would be above that volume shelf then, so that's why I like to see it taken out. 68.44 ideally, and then we can target Friday's high if we can find some sort of scalp. Again, inside day, be very wary of how we trade. I'm taking both Friday and Wednesday as inside days today because we were not trading on Thursday. So that's how I'll be taking opening ranges today. I want to see it take out multiple levels at the same time, but I'm wary we do have levels above and below. So it's going to be a hard short or hard long, but I'm favouring the short purely because I like the fact we've broken the trend line and we're putting in one of my favorite patterns, this head and shoulders pattern, and I like to see a break and retest of 6,800 to confirm that pattern and the breakdown. Okay, oil next. Are we looking at an inverse head and shoulders pattern? Left shoulder, head, because we could say that's our right shoulder. Our neckline, we're coming into it now. So if you want to hold this trend line, let's look for a bounce coming out of that area, back into that point of control area. Big volume shelf, a double volume shelf actually, massive amounts of volume in that 30% value zone. So it's going to be tough to get above that area. So maybe look for the bounce off of pre-market low down here. So am I drawing the trend line? We've got a couple of trend lines, that one there maybe. Just beware if we lose pre-market low and we stay below 59, then it might not be a very good long. We could also watch Friday's low for a bounce. If we get above pre-market high, it's going to be a tough long into this range of noise and volume. So not a big fan of longs up there. The only long I like is back down here at 58.96 area. Yeah, that's it. Not tread carefully on that. We are still in a massive big weekly monthly range. Gold is looking better. This is what I like to see. We had this pattern set up here. Look at this. I love this pattern. We had that pattern set up there, and then we broke out of it. We came back and we retested that pattern. And look at the pattern we set up on, when was this, Thursday or Friday? We had that pattern. So it's not very well drawn. Let me do it again. That pattern there, breaking out as well, and then we had the big breakout. So for me, I like to see a bounce around 42.40. It looks like we may have already had that bounce. Let's just draw it in. Oh, that is not what I'm looking for. Top of that pivot there. That area there for the bounce, 42.40. We may have already bounced in the post market. So keep an eye on that area, 42.40 for the bounce. Basically, Friday's low, 42.50, I think, that this zone here, 42.50 for the bounce, which would be that pivot. We have a little tiny volume shelf there as well. So not a great deal, but we do have a little bit of, we do have a pivot there. Otherwise, if we come back down to that 4200, I do like this area for the bounce as well. And that'd be the break and retest of this nice flag pattern. I do like this on the long side, and generally if we start seeing gold rotate up like this, generally we're going to see a bit of a, we generally see ES and NASDAQ push down, so they generally go in that direction. But let's just keep an eye and see what happens. That's, I do quite like long. If we can get above pre-market high, we do have, they're not in regular market hours as well, so I say a couple of fair value gaps. I'm not too worried about things. That's lower volume. So let's keep an eye on a long with 43.93 area as a potential target. RTY is putting in this head and shoulders pattern, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Our neckline slightly lopsided. If we can break down pre-market low, come back and retest that point of control, big point of control area. So this is, I'm not going to go short into that zone at all. But we need to clear it, come back up and retest that zone. I like that for the short then. Otherwise, I'm watching it for a bounce. So levels to watch for a bounce will be 24.68 and the lows, this area here from Wednesday. And what's that, 24.70 area. So that's my bounce area. If we can get above pre-market high, maybe keep a watch for the break and retest of yesterday's low, pre-market high long. I don't think I like anything else unless it takes out those levels. We can target Friday, Wednesday and Friday's high as profit areas. And I think that's it for RTY. YM, 4 minutes ago, we've got plenty of time. YM, however, I do like this. We put in our head and shoulders pattern, a nice vertical shoulder, neckline, We're below the 50 moving average, which is great. Where are we in volume wise? We have a volume void as well. This volume void here, so we might see a big bit of movement down. The next volume shelf is not until we get down to 47,200. So I do really like this for short, so I'm going to keep an eye on this today. If we break pre-market low, I'm going to put in an alert. This is my favorite play actually. It's got everything we need. We've got a volume shelf above, if we can stay below that area, so that's a potential rejection, or we can put our stops just above that volume shelf or above those volumes there. We've got a head and shoulders pattern. We're below the 50 on the day on the hourly as well. We have a bit of a volume void before we get down to the point of control down here as well, 47,200. And there's no psychological numbers. Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on this YM today. So that's my favorite play today. Obviously, if we don't close below pre-market low, then I'm not too interested in it. Let's keep an eye on the breakout long, taking out pre-market high, Friday's low long into this 47,700 area to Friday's high. So that's the two plays on YM. And then finally, Bitcoin. That's just taken a nosedive again. We're right inside these two trend line areas. So for me, unless we get above these trend lines, I'm not looking for too many longs. But while we're below this trend line, I'm probably looking to add to my position long as well. You know, I want to see it pull back before I add. Not interested in rejection. Oh, I don't know. It's a good area to get in right now. Let's just go to the daily. If we do lose that area, the next area on the daily, if we do lose that area, volume void, notice that volume shelf there. The next volume shelf is down here, 68 to 71,000, and it's on potential. Oh, let's go back. It's potentially on that trend line and that level we're watching. So big area of confidence. So I can't see. Well, let's see what happens, whether we pull right back down into these areas. This is a prime area. This is where I'll be looking to add to my position a bit more. I'm just doing smaller buys up here in this area here. I don't really want to add any more unless we can get above that area, but I'm adding some small amounts of Bitcoin. I use Revolut on my Revolut bank account. It lets me add whatever I want when I want. And I've got it set every time I buy something using my bank account, it automatically rounds it up and puts the differences into my Bitcoin account, and it very quickly adds up. I mean, it adds up about $1,000 a month, you know, where it rounds up all these little transactions. So you don't see it. I'm not actually actively putting money into the account, but while it's selling off, it's giving me a good average. And then when I get to these big levels I'm watching, that's when I go in then and add quite a few £100 or a few $100 at a time while we're bouncing in these areas. So that's kind of how I play it. And then I treat it like a bank account. So when we get back up here, then I start taking profit, watching the volume. And I've talked about it in my previous videos. I've been taking profit all the way up and then adding in at good prices. So that's Bitcoin. So let me just quickly go back to the hourly. Can I find? Yeah, so if what I do like actually, if I look for a rejection, I play the Bitcoin futures. We can look for the break and retest a pre-market low, 85,000 down into that 82,000 for a potential bounce. Keep an eye on that 81,600 for a bounce. That's pretty much it really. I'm not interested in going long on Bitcoin while we're still in this downtrend. So I like to trade with the trend on my day trading account. It's a bit different to my longer term one. Okay, market's just opened, so I'm pretty much done. Let me add my order buttons in. I don't trade for the first 15 minutes. We've got news at 10 AM and at 9:45, so I probably won't trade for the first half an hour. That's pretty much my analysis done for the day. I will probably be around in the chat. Any questions or messages? If you're looking for footprint charts, which are these below for NinjaTrader, then go to my website. There's still a Black Friday deal on. I'm going to extend it a little bit longer for Cyber Monday. And these footprint charts are brilliant. Obviously, I'm going to say that because I designed them. Gives you cumulative delta divergences. You can see here where it's going to potentially see the end of a trend, start seeing divergences, and then you can see aggressive buying, stacked buying imbalances, so you can pick up momentum, and then obviously you get the bid and ask prices as well. It's a really good tool, shows you what's going on inside any of these candlesticks. So when you see a big candlestick and you see lots of volume, you can then analyze what actually that volume means, and you know, footprints are pretty decent to watch. And just see if there's anything exciting happening now. So we've got a lot of selling imbalances here coming in. We've got a negative delta as well. Negative delta, 3 negative deltas in a row is generally pretty bearish, unless we start seeing some buyers come back into the market. There we go. So we had a imbalance, a cumulative delta here, plus 99 on a top and tail candle. So that basically means we had more aggressive buying than sellers. It's only 99 more, so it's not a big area, but maybe if we're looking for a bounce, look at this, plus 522. So the buyers are back in control of the last few bars, and we've got some buying imbalances. When I see them stacked like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, generally seen there's more buying pressure coming in. And then you can flip back over to the order flow. If I flick to my order flow, you can see the same buying pressure coming in. Look at this, we had big green buying candles coming in bottom right corner, and we got aggressive buying, and we got a green candle coming from it. Not saying it's going to be a bounce at this point, because this is just one of many confirmations we like to look for. But if you're looking for a bounce, what's my levels? I've got what levels I was watching. Let's go back to my hourly ES. Okay, so we're watching that 6,800 area for a bounce. So not for me, it's not an area I want to see any bounces right now. Pre-market high is 68.30 bar one tick. Friday's low 68.36. So this is the region here we want to see. No, cancel that. So this is the region here we want to see an opening range come in, take out all those levels, kind of sit there, a bit like there, on increasing volume as well. And then we want to go long on the break of that candle, but we don't want to see that before 10 AM until the news is gone. So hopefully we just go sideways for the next 25 minutes. And then we have an opening range, breaking candle. Oh, sorry, the first 15 minutes sets in the range. Maybe we've got the range. This is the range we're watching. And then we see a breaking candle take out that opening range on increasing volume, like we're seeing, like a candle like that. And then we can enter there, stop at the bottom of that breaking candle. So looking at the footprints again, we do have this green boxed area down here. That basically means we've got aligned point of control. So we've got the most amount of volume is trading that area. You can see volume's pretty much in a similar area above as well. Unless we see buyers come back in, we can treat this area as an area of support because it's a big volume area. Otherwise, if we lose this area, we can see it as an area of resistance, because we know that's where the volume is trading. Again, another feature of these footprint charts, it just highlights areas where there's most volume traded. Whereas we got volume by time here, here is volume by tick. So, and that's why I have the volume profile over here as well. It shows me where the most amount of volume by tick is. And it's pretty important for my type of trading, because volume is what, basically the volume is basically where all the smart money, the hedge funds are operating. Look at this. So we had another high volume aligned point of control as well. So it's holding this area. So if you were a scalper, you could probably scalp. Well, if you were a scalper, you would have seen that. Could have gone long, stop at the bottom. Notice a point of control at the bottom of that candle as well. It's quite a bullish signal with a positive delta as well. And then we had a negative delta divergence there. So usually that's the first signs of a reversal when you start seeing divergences. But notice a lack of follow through right now. We want to see aggressive buying coming in on the ask. I don't scalp. I definitely don't scalp in the first 15 minutes as well. So, but maybe I should, because most of these signals, you know, when you look at these signals, it generally works. Going back to the order flow screen. Big amount of buyers coming in there. Over 240 buyers. That's quite a big buyer sitting there. Looking pretty bullish still. We know that because of the footprint charts we just talked about. So this is what we want to see in the next 5-minute candle. We want to see it sit in this area. So we want to see the opening range low down here, opening range high around this area, and then we want to see after 10 o'clock. This is the ideal world now. Perfect. It'll be perfect if it's after 10 a.m. We want to see an opening range. Let's just move this over a bit. So what I want to see is, ideally I want to see, why is it doing that? That's probably because I've got my shortcuts set up. So ideally we want to see the opening range around there, and then we want to see a breaking candle after 10 a.m. do something like that above the midpoint. So that'd be our midpoint. So we want to be, if it's above the midpoint, we can say it's more bullish. And then we want to see increase in volume coming through, increased volume on the breaking candle. Then as we break that breaking candle, this is our entry. On the break of that candle, we'll see ideally increase in volume. You won't always know until that candle's finished. And then we put our stop below the breaking candle and our entry. So that's our risk. And we want to try and scrap out at least 1.5 R in an inside day. See these red lines showing? So this red vertical line, that basically means we've got a high volatility news event coming up at that point, 10 a.m. We know about that. We talked about it earlier. These red lines, horizontal red lines, shows us where there's large limit orders being set. So we know right now somebody's got large limit orders of over 200 sitting up on MES at around that 680, 68.30, 68.28 area. And you can see there's one order left there. And what have we got on ES? This is my ES one. So not as many on ES, but we can see it on MES because. Okay, so this will be a perfect, if we don't want this candle now, we don't want this candle putting in a new high. We just want it to sit here and rest for the next 15 minutes. We don't want to see it taking out the low as well. I want to get past this news event. This is where we want to see this green candle is the news event. We want to see it get past. We do have news coming out in 5 minutes. That's the lower volatility PMI. Hence why we've got the green candle. This green candle means low volatility events. The thicker red candle is high volatility events. Just so that when I'm trading, if I'm in a trade, I know to get out of the trade before the news gets delivered. Nothing exciting happening at the moment. We did a couple of big orders. Where's that price level around 682, 68.24, 68.24.75. That area there. $6,800. There's another couple of big orders sitting down there as well. That's not what the green line's for. The red line up here is big orders on the limit on the ask, big limits on the bid. And on MES, it's looking for, I think it's 200, minimum 200 orders. On ES, I've got it set to 200. I think the thicker the line, the more orders are. These are thinner lines, so there's not that many orders sitting down there at the moment on MES. And there's nothing on my order flow screen. If I flick over, order flows only at 6,400. Got 200 orders on ES, but you can see where the orders are coming in. So it's a pretty busy area. We know that because we can see that on both the order flow, the footprint charts. Here's something interesting as well. This is what I like seeing. So if we have an aligned point of control, like here, and we break down, that acts as resistance. Notice how we held that area, and then we lost it again. And look at this. The next candle, we lost that aligned point of control there, and we pulled back into it again and lost it. So that's another reason why I like having these aligned point controls. Basically, the green boxes showing me 2 or more. Sometimes you have 3 or 4 all in a line. You know there's a strong area. That's a big area of potential resistance or support. And you can see just here exactly that. We come back, we lost it, we came back up into it. Negative delta as well. Some selling imbalances below as well. More selling imbalances, and it sold off. So it's not for me to trade at the moment. I don't really like the price action as it is. And again, it's right inside that range. We're right inside a inside day or Friday, and I'm treating Wednesday as an inside day as well. So it's got to be A+ setups only. I mean a proper decent A+ setups, and for that it needs to be breaking the ranges we just talked about. Let me go back to my main screen. An A+ setup for me would be breaking and retest of this pre-market low and then taking out 68,000. So I want to see it come down into there, break and retest short. Or if we're looking for an opening range long, it has to take out these levels here. Opening range, pre-market high, yesterday's low. I will not be trading an opening range if we don't take out, if we're sitting inside that area. So that's not an A+ setup. An A+ setup is if it does that. So we see a breakout of opening range, a breakout of pre-market high, a breakout of Friday's low as well. And then that's got a higher probability of going long than it would be. And again, I wait for the next candle just to stop me taking fake outs as well. So it's got to be increase in volume. So only if the next candle is increase in volume, we take it out there. Stop is there. And then here's something I'm adding into my strategy as well. If I start seeing reduced volume with little to no follow through, I'll be moving my stop as close to break even as possible, so that to minimize this 1 hour loss, because I've been getting quite a lot of fake outs recently, a lot of entries into an ORB and then it came back to stop me out. So I'm going to get tighter on my stops as well, especially on the inside day. Right, I'm going to call it a day on the live stream. I will be around in the chat and I'll be around on the Discord. If you're not subscribed or I've got a free Discord general chat, I generally put my levels in there a bit later. And then if you're a subscriber to the premium Discord, I'll put my levels as I take them into the live trading chat. And that's basically for members of the premium Discord. So, and then I normally put my levels in a bit later, so a bit delayed, so you can then go back and see whether they worked or not in the general, the free chat part of my Discord. So join the Discord if you're not a member. Again, if you are looking for decent footprint charts, then they're on a Black Friday deal at the moment. half price. I'm not sure how long I'm going to hold at this price, maybe to the end of the week. So if you haven't decided today, I'm going to put the Black Friday. I think the coupon code Black Friday 25 from the website expires the end of today, so I may have to extend it. So okay, this is not what I want to see it do at the moment. I know I said I want to see it break these levels here, but I don't want to see such a big opening range candle as well. You know, how much time we've got? We've got 2 minutes left basically. We've got a wide range candle. It's bigger than the midpoint, so that's not an A plus. All my opening range has to be above the midpoint for this to work. You know, I don't mind it holding this area. Hopefully we can hold that area and then just see us just go back and forth for the next 15 minutes until that major news comes out at 10 AM. So what's it now? Oh, the opening range has been formed. So this is our opening range. So 68.12, 68.28, and this is an invalid breakout for me. So I know we're looking pretty bullish down here, but that candle is not sitting above the opening range midpoints. It's what would be 616. It's a 16. It's a 20 point, almost at, what's that, 17 point, 15, 17 points. That's just too big of a risk. And then look at the volume on that big wide range candle. You expect there to be more volume already by now than the previous smaller candles. So but there's not. So just be a bit wary. So what would be ideal now? Now we've broken the range. If we don't close above that opening range higher, then that's not a problem. We just don't want to see it close above there until after 10 AM. So ideally now we have a quick fake out. This will catch all the people who are taking the opening range long. You know, they just take the breakouts, hopefully. Then it comes back. Anyone who's got their shorts there or there, maybe we might see the market take out the lows of that candle, lows of the range. That'll stop everyone out, and then we come back up, put in a proper opening range candle. And this is why I don't do opening range breakouts, because look at that, broke out and we pulled back. We still have 30 seconds to go. Big wide range candle, almost on equal volume, but not quite. Let's just see where we close. So just so you're aware, this is not an A plus setup for an inside day for me, so it won't be a trade even if we do close above the opening range for me. We've got 5 seconds and it's likely to close. Is it going to close below the range or above the range? There we go. So this is not a valid candle. This would be a better candle. That's what I want to see. But we've got news, so I wouldn't take it coming into a news event. That news indicator I've got also on my website, 50% off right now, this red line. You also get this notification up here as well, telling you that there's an upcoming high impact news event at 10 AM. And that also is the same indicator you get on this screen as well. You get this as part of it as well, the news box as well. It tells you where the news is. You can see the news for the week. So it's a good indicator, really good indicator. And every 30 minutes it goes online and looks for the latest news. So it updates itself quicker than something like TradingView does. I notice sometimes when Trump has a speech or something like that, it's in there way before the other news indicators. So not a trade for me at the moment. It's too risky going long with news coming up. Again, it's an inside day. We're right inside Friday's range, so it's going to be a real tough one. You know, it could even work, but I'd rather not trade than risk an inside day and going against was it a higher volume? It wasn't even higher volume. This candle has to be higher volume than the previous candles as well, or at least a high volume candle. And it's got to do a lot to break the volume of that candle. That's quite a big volume, but you expect a bigger volume candle on a wide range candle like this. They didn't quite take out the. So this is the ORB breaking candle in a trending day. You could have said it's a valid long, but we're not trending. It's an inside day. So for me, not a valid long. Plus, like I said, it's got to get above these previous levels as well and close above them. It hasn't closed above any of these yet. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low meant pre-market high, all the opening ranges. So not a candle for me to take. And then if we look at the footprint charts as well, we can just do a quick. So we had 948, which is this top here. We had a top and tail candle with a positive delta but on a red candle, and then we sold off. And then we had some aggressive, not aggressive, well, it were some aggressive buying imbalances. Basically, it's 4 times more aggressive buying than sellers, but we didn't get the follow through on the next candle, so that's a bit of a red flag for me. And then we've got a green candle on a negative delta, 100 minus 194. You want to see positive deltas here, you don't want to see negative deltas, you know, to confirm with no follow through. And we're just holding this area. So might be wary of news at 10 AM. I'm going to come off the stream now, so I'm not going to be trading this opening range breakout. So my next trade, even if we do close above that, will be a break, and I'll look for a retest of this area for the long. And again, I'll be looking for decrease in volume coming down into the opening range high, and an increase in volume coming out. So looking for a bit of a buy setup. That's if we do close above these areas. But because the news coming up, you know, we might have positive news. You might see a big green candle. It's a risk, but not a risk I want to take. You know, looking at footprint charts, it's looking, we've got lots of aggressive buying coming in. So it's looking more bullish and bearish. But we've got news in 5 minutes, just over 5 minutes time. Okay, so that's our new candle. It was on less volume as well. So even though it's taken out pre-market, the break and retest, the breakout of the opening range was not on increased volume. It's on slightly less volume than the previous candle. So that's, firstly, that's not a valid trade. Next candle was less volume, even though it's highish volume, and it's a solid green candle. It looks quite bullish. That still was on less volume, so that is a negative for a breakout. We have news coming up at 10 AM, so that's another reason not to take the long. I'm just trying to justify why I'm not taking it, and it's an inside day as well, another reason. So you've got to be pretty scalpy on this one. So if you did go long, do the fibs for a second. If you did go long, 68.50 area could be your 1.1R, 68.55, 1.5R area. So that's potentially what you could target. You got 68, 63 is Friday's high as well. Such a narrow range Friday, literally between 31 and 63. So you're right inside Friday's, although lower volume range. Right, I'm going to go trade safe. What I'll be waiting for now is for a retest of this zone. So if it comes back down to 68.28, and we see some increase in volume coming in on the bounce, then I'll be looking for a long. But the opening range is not for me today. Okay, appreciate you watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Appreciate your support, and I'll be back tomorrow, 9 AM Eastern Time or 2 PM here in the UK. Trade safe, and again, as I've emphasized myself, A+ setups only. That's what does it. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.